up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and this is your Gilbert Dorino Burns versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal breakdown. A little late, but hey, it is what it is. This is a phenomenal fight. One of my favorite fights on the card right now, and I can't wait for this, man. It's gonna be a banger in Miami, bro. And this fight right here, man, kind of tells you what's gonna happen in the landscape of the welterweight division. If this fight goes either one way, if it means fucking Masvidal winning or Burns winning, we kind of know who will fight for the belt. If Burns wins this fight, I'm positive Colby Covington will fight Leon Edwards for the unified welterweight title. And if Jorge somehow wins against Burns, I truly deep down in my heart believe, and I can see this, man. I can honestly see Jorge jumping Colby right now, but it's gonna be hard because Colby does have a win over Jorge, but I could see them justifying it. I really could, because that fight is blockbuster, man, honestly. So it is what it is at the end of the day. But yeah, I love this fight, and you guys are probably wondering, why is this my favorite fight on the card? The debate that this fight has caused in MMA Twitter. So many people are team Jorge. It is insane. And so many people believe this matchup favors Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal bum. Street bum. Fucking the same journeyman Jorge has always been is somehow going to be Superman against Gilbert Burns. And that's what I've seen, this mass delusion that everyone thinks Jorge's going to go out there and, I mean, not murder Burns. I don't think they think that, but they think this fight is somewhat 50-50. Do I think Jorge has a chance? Yes, but it's more 70-30. Not no fucking 50-50. The man's 38. Yeah, I know they're both similar in age, but still, it's like he's washed up. I'm sorry, he is. Does he have a chance? Is he still slick on his feet? Of course. Does he have pop? Of course. But he's a little older. The gas tank isn't like it used to be. And I truly believe we're going to see a clinic from Burns, I think, wrestling and striking wise. And I think a lot of people are kind of underestimating Burns' grappling, which is weird. His wrestling, to say the least. But that's what makes this fight so interesting to me, is because you have this crowd of Jorge Masvidal riders or believers telling me that he has a chance here. Yeah, he has a chance, but not a big chance. Not the chance they see. So, yeah, that's what I love about this matchup. Obviously, there's no real storyline. Maybe a little bit of ATT versus Black Zillions, kind of like arc right there. But besides that, there really isn't no bad blood. Besides the fact that both these guys are fighting for a title shot here. So, yeah. And it's in a marquee fight. Both guys are Floridians. And, yeah, we're going to see who's the king of Miami. So, yeah. Let's talk about the stats, though. Gilbert Burns comes with a record of 21-5. Is fighting out of Florida, age 36, a height of 5'10", and a reach of 71. Is fighting out of Kill Cliff. Jorge Masvidal comes with a record of 35-16. Is also fighting out of Miami, Florida, age 38, a height of 5'11", and reach of 74. So obviously Jorge does come with that reach advantage. And you know what I like about this fight too? Both guys are former lightweights. Both guys have competed at 155 pounds. Both guys were ranked in the lightweight division actually previously. So that's also another thing I like about this matchup. Two former lightweights going up against each other as welterweights. So that's another cool little aspect to this matchup. But yeah, I did a film study breakdown on this, and you guys know how I do it usually. I break down 3 fights from these guys. One is their most recent fight, and then 2 fights where I felt like they fought similar opponents to their current matchup and did well against, and obviously did bad against. All right, so let's talk about Jorge. So with Jorge, I did myself a favor and just picked a lot of jiu-jitsu guys that he fought. And he's obviously done well against some of the better jiu-jitsu guys in the division. Now, are any of these guys the level of a Gilbert Burns? I don't think so. Burns has actually beat one of them, has finished him. And, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. But yeah, I looked at the Cesar Ferreira fight, and interesting enough about the Cesar Ferreira fight, Burns was actually in the corner of Cesar Ferreira. So right when Jorge did what he did to Cesar Ferreira in his welterweight debut a long time ago, Burns was in the corner. He saw it live. So this is kind of like a little bit of cool, like, little backstory to their title fight, or not their title fight, their fucking marquee fight in the co-main event, is that they both did lock lock eyes with each other when they were in the octagon, you know, so which is kind of cool. So, you know, kind of tells you how this fight, you know, I mean, the seeds to this fight, I would say, you know, Burns was in the corner when he saw his boy get finished. So, it's kind of cool. But, in this matchup, I mean, obviously it was, Jorge's, welterweight debut. And, I mean, it was a really quick fight. I mean, Cesar Ferreira had his moments. He did get a double leg takedown, but, Jorge was able to get up. And I noticed, in the matchup, Jorge had a lot of success in the clinch, and to me that's what led to the finish here. He was in the clinch with Cesar Ferreira. He got him with a clean little elbow, and then he finished him in the brutal ground and pound and got the knockout really quickly. And that's the thing going into this matchup. Jorge still has that pop. You know what they say, the last thing to go is your power, right? So Jorge still has a chance, and I don't want it to be like, oh, I don't respect Jorge Masvidal, oh, I call him street bum, Masvidal bum. I might call him all those things, but the guy is a legitimate killer. But I just don't think he's on that level like he used to be. Like, this is not this guy that fought Cesar Ferreira is not the guy that's going to be fighting Gilbert Durinho Burns. Even though he still has some of those same qualities, he's just a little older, and time is undefeated, y'all. And I want you guys to really know that. That's going to be one of my biggest marquee points. And momentum is such a big thing. Like, his last win, I think, was in 2019, I'm pretty sure, against Nate Diaz. So it's been a long time since he actually won a fight. That's also into perspective. But let's fast forward into when Jorge had fought Damian Maia, man. And in this matchup against Damian Maia, this was Jorge's second run, or his first run actually, at #1 contendership. And he had a pretty good win streak going into this Damian Maia fight. Cowboy, Ellenberger, and I think, was it Cesar Ferreira part of that? Or it might have been someone else, but he was developing a good run, and then he fought Damian Maia, and a lot of people felt like he won this. I don't necessarily agree, but I thought Damian Maia did a lot of good things, chasing the single leg a lot, and if he couldn't get the single leg, he'd always get you up against the fence, and then eventually he'd work his way up for a single, man. And he was so good at this. He was just so good at this in this fight, getting that single leg and just constantly running the pipe down. And if he couldn't get that, he'd basically pull for guard and get half guard on you, and you'd still be stuck. And he just would constantly take down Jorge, and he obviously get a lot of good back trips too. But, Jorge, he had his moments kind of going into this fight. I'm not going to lie. When Damian Maia got his back originally in that first round, he did a really good job of getting Damian off of his back and then just sliding him down to the ground, and then actually landing some really good ground and pound after he got Damian Maia to the ground and he was on top. And he did some good things. Like, he is still a decent grappler, but he showed some good sprawls, 2 really good sprawls here, but and then I liked how he would sprawl, throw a knee, and then like punch out of it. But eventually Damian might start to figure him out, get the single leg here, and just keep on him, and just almost like a glue. He would not let him go. And then obviously he had back control at the end, and he finished the round on his back, and that's how he kind of won that fight. But my point is, after all that, Damian Maia is not Gilbert Durinho Burns. I truly believe Damian Maia is a great fighter, but he's just not Durinho. Durinho's on another level. I want you to know that if Damian Maia can do this to you, imagine what Gilbert Burns can do on the ground. I'm just sorry. And we saw what happened when Damian Maia and Burns fought. We saw how quick that went. It was first round. Jorge fought a younger version of Maia, so I give him his respect there. But my overall point is, Jorge can have his moments, but and he's not a bad grappler. I wouldn't say he's a bad grappler, but he has a limited grappling cardio. When you put the grappling on him, right, and you put the clinch on him, you put the double legs on him, you put the single legs on him, eventually he'll tire out. That's just who Jorge Masvidal is. He can't sustain heavy grappling pace, and we saw that especially in his Colby Covington fight just this year, honestly. And it was a crazy fight, man. A lot of backstory, a lot of bad blood between both guys. Former teammates turned into rivals, and those guys, they went at it, but obviously it went one way. It went the way of Colby Covington. Colby Covington, like glue, stayed on Jorge Masvidal. Consistent clinch work, consistent mat returns, especially a lot of mat returns. Not a lot of full takedowns, just a lot of mat returns, a lot of back takedowns, just having his back and sliding him down. And, you know, there were moments where Colby would fall and Jorge would get on top, and then Colby would work a single leg, right? And then eventually get Jorge's back. And that, you could just see the levels of grappling and grappling cardio that Jorge just didn't have compared to Colby. And that's how Colby outworked him here. And just made him look stupid, right? And he would outwork him with the striking, transitioning to the wrestling. And just really hurt him. Like, he'd throw a good uppercut, two rear hooks, and then just stick on him like glue. And just, you could just see Jorge was so tired, and now Colby was landing these combos on him. And Colby's not a great striker, to say the least, but when you're tired, you're tired. Like, hey, cardio makes honest men out of all of us. But Jorge had his moments. He did drop Colby in that fourth round, but besides that, it was one-way traffic. You could just see Colby knew the man was tired. He pumped the gas on him and broke him down. And it was a pretty hard loss for Jorge, I could tell. You know, this was a loss that defined careers. You know, this is who was the man and who wasn't. And Colby kind of proved to Jorge that you're not that guy. You never was, and you never will be. Now, obviously, Jorge is looking for redemption going into this rematch, but not this rematch, going to this fight against Gilbert Burns. But my main point is, he's had his marquee fights, right? Gilbert really hasn't had a lot of marquee fights. This is one of his marquee fights. Obviously his fight with Chimaev and fucking what's his face, Usman. Those are his marquee fights. Jorge's had a bunch, right? And this is another one. And he's had more than Durinho. So going into this matchup, knowing that you've lost this type of way multiple times, I know he's gonna go in there like, I have to give it all I got. But the point is, when you've shown a pattern, a habit to getting taken down multiple times, it usually stays that way. You don't really kill your habits. You learn to adapt with them. And I just don't really think Jorge can really adapt against a guy like Durinho, who can wrestle at a high level. And I want to show that. Now, Durinho, going into this matchup against Jorge, I obviously looked at the Dan Hooker fight. You have to look at the Dan Hooker fight. You just cannot ignore it, right? This is a fight where he fought a striker at lightweight, obviously. But besides weight cutting, he got outclassed here. I mean, Hooker just landed one straight shot, hit him, right? And that's been Durinho's biggest kryptonite and biggest question is his durability, right? And that's what Jorge can really capitalize on. And that's why I said, man, Jorge has nothing to lose here. He's not supposed to win, in my humble opinion. So he's going to go out all for broke, and he still has power. Like I said, time will kill you, but what's the last thing to leave is power. So in this matchup, it does go to Jorge, that he has the power to really use against a guy like Burns. But Burns against Dan, he did shoot for a takedown here, and Dan was able to defend and even counter with his own submission here that made Gilbert almost resist the grappling and try to get out of these grappling situations. And eventually it led to Dan getting the KO over Gilbert with a beautiful hook combo from both guys, where they both threw hooks at each other and ended up getting knocked out. Now obviously Burns was the one that got knocked out, but they both got chin checked there, which was kind of crazy. That's how you knew Dan Hooker's chin was just too durable at that time. But yeah, so obviously we could see it there, and he fought a legit striker in Dan. But with, you know, Dan has some decent power, just some decent pop. But that was obviously a lightweight. But when he fought, and I wouldn't compare Tyron Woodley to Jorge Masvidal. But when he fought Tyron Woodley, I would say his breakout performance, he fought a legit striker who was super explosive, who was at the time the #1 welterweight in the world. And I mean, Tyron Woodley and Jorge used to train together a lot. So there is a lot of similarities between both guys, I would say. And I don't think this is a bad call to put this in the film study. But in this Tyron Woodley fight, he just was the more explosive guy. He just really was. He landed hurtful shots to Tyron Woodley. Dropped him in that first round. And almost finished him, actually, in that first round. He almost got him out of there. And they would land these beautiful takedowns again, and that was my biggest thing, is the wrestling of Durinho, so underrated. And he would just land on T Wood and just outwork him. Boom. He was just the more explosive guy in there. And Tyron Woodley has some good takedown defense, right? He defended some takedowns, don't get it twisted, I thought, in this performance. But dude, when Durinho let his hands go, he made Tyron Woodley the frozen one. And then again, he got his wrestling in and got the takedown with the inside trip. There was actually a cool moment where he almost got a Darce at the end of the 4th round. He just was just manipulating Tyron in this fight. He did whatever he wanted to Tyron. And that's my point. I mean, Tyron Woodley's a phenomenal wrestler, a Division I wrestler, and he's not the easiest guy to take down in the world. He had a really good takedown stat, actually, as a champion. Is a really good one. And he defended a lot of takedowns against a guy like Damian Maia. And it just tells you the level of wrestling that Durinho has. He is a phenomenal. I tell you, he's not just a normal jiu-jitsu guy. He's not a fucking Cesar Ferreira or a fucking Damian Maia. His wrestling is elite. He has I want to state this, elite wrestling. And I truly, truly believe that. Now, obviously, Tyron defended another takedown in this 5th, which was pretty good by him. And I give him his credit there. He did defend some takedowns here. But overall, Durinho was the better guy here. He beat him 5-0. He 50-45'd him. And he beat him in every aspect of MMA in a really, really good, solid performance. And then, obviously, his most recent fight, his Neil Magny fight. This was pretty quick, man. It was a quick fight. Nothing much really happened here. Durinho obviously got the big takedown, slammed Magny, and he ended up submitting him like he was nothing. And that's just what I expect from Durinho against a guy like, I like Magny a lot, don't get it twisted, but and that's what was gonna happen. He was gonna finish him with the quickness. I'm sorry, y'all. But obviously, after that fight, the fight with Jorge Masvidal got announced, and now we're here. And obviously, I talked about the film study, and I talked about what I saw in those 3 fights, and I think it's pretty simple, y'all. It's a wrap for Street Bum. I'm sorry. This is your retirement, my brother. Gilbert Burns will put the final nail in the coffin. I thought it was Colby Covington, but it's Gilbert Durinho Burns in Miami. How fitting, in your house. He will kill you. He will end your fucking career. I truly believe that deep down in my heart. Durinho is better than him everywhere the fight goes. I believe that. And I think a lot of you guys are going to get humbled. All you motherfuckers that are saying no chin Burns is going to get smoked are going to look ridiculous. You guys are going to look stupid. I think Burns is going to demasculate this man. Club and sub in the 2nd round. I think he finishes, he subs him. Masvidal, you had a good run, but it's over. It's been over. This ain't 2019. This is 2023. This Durinho ain't Darren Till. He ain't Nate Diaz. He's Gilbert motherfucking Burns, and he will submit you in 2. I hope you had a good run. I hope you had some good time. I hope you had some good fun, but it's over, my guy. It's Durinho's time. You're done, son. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the little breakdown. Love y'all and goodbye. It's your boy eBay. I'm out of here. But yeah, follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get this eBay Fight Prediction Nation going. I'm out.